For the most part, the wall preparation instructions given for horizontal siding also apply to vertical applications. If you are siding over a substrate which does not have nail-holding strength, however, you must install solid wood nailer strips horizontally to studs before applying sheathing. Use 1-inch by 3-inch wood furring, positioned 12 inches on center. To create a smooth, flat surface, you will need to add sheathing in between or on top of furring strips. Begin installing accessories by marking a baseline 1 inch above the lowest point of the wall. Then, install the inside and outside corner posts as previously shown. Next, install J-channel at the bottom of the wall. But before you do, drill 3/16-inch diameter weep holes, a minimum of every 24 inches on center. Install J-channel, leaving a 1/4-inch gap at each receiver. For walls more than 12 feet, you'll have to overlap J-channels 3/4 of an inch. To do this, cut out a 1-inch section of the nailing flange and face return. The next step is to install J-channel along the top of the wall under the eave. If soffit is not already installed, you should first install the soffit receiving channels, and then install the inverted J-channel for the top of the wall. Finally, install J-channel at doors, windows, and gable ends. Correctly installed vertical siding should have a balanced appearance. That means if you were to draw a line down the center of the wall, you'd have an equal number of panels to the right and to the left. This usually means using a partial panel at both ends of the wall. To create this pleasing appearance, divide the space to be covered by the partial panel over both ends of the wall. For example, if a wall required 10 full panels plus 10 inches, you would rip-cut 2 5-inch wide panels to create the end pieces. In a vertical siding installation, most of the expansion is downward. So instead of allowing equal space for expansion at both ends of a vertical panel, leave more space at the lower end. Allow for 1/3 of the total expansion at the top of a panel and 2/3 of the total expansion at the bottom. So for example, if the total expansion equals 3/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch plus 3/8 of an inch, allow 1/4 inch at the top and 1/2 inch at the bottom. If the total expansion equals 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch plus 1/4 inch, allow 3/16 of an inch at the top and 3/8 of an inch at the bottom. Begin installing the panels by cutting the first of the partial panels you'll need. Be sure to measure your cut line from the nail hem edge. After cutting the panel, create tabs every 6 inches along the cut edge. Before installing a partial panel, you have to add support to make up for the lock in the channel that was cut off. To create this support, insert a length of undersill trim into the corner post. Align nail slots with the corner post and nail. Finally, slide the cut edge of the panel into the undersill trim. Be sure the panel engages the snap locks. Alternatively, if you need to build out the face of the panel, you can add furring behind the undersill trim or use dual undersill trim. Use a level to make sure the panel is plumb. Then nail every 12 inches starting from the top and working down. With vertical siding, always position the first nail at the top of the topmost nail slot. Put the remaining nails in the center of the nail slots. After the partial panel is installed, install the full panels, locking them and nailing every 12 inches. Complete the wall by installing the final partial panel into the corner post using the method described earlier. When necessary, cut panels to fit around windows and doors. When marking the cut, remember to allow for expansion. The method used to install panels around doors and windows is determined by the need to cut a panel and position of that cut. If a cut was made next to a remaining V-groove, insert the panel into the J-channel. If a cut removes the support provided by a V-groove, use the procedure described previously to provide support for the trimmed edge. When working on a wall that requires more than one course of vertical siding, you can proceed in one of three ways. First, you can use back-to-back J-channels. Install a J-channel over the bottom course, followed by flashing, and then J-channel to receive the upper course. Second, you can apply drip cap over the bottom course, followed by J-channel for the upper course. Alternately, you may use a double-channel lineal. When installing vertical or board and batten siding on a gable end wall, you should try to create a balanced appearance. There are two ways to do this. You can start from the center of the wall and work towards the sides. Begin by finding the center point of the wall, beneath the peak, and draw a plumb line. Nail two lengths of J-channel back to back along this line. A double-channel lineal can also be used in place of the J-channel. Be sure to flash underneath the J-channel to help prevent water damage due to water seepage between the J-channels. Make a template for the proper slope. Then cut the first panel to the proper height and slope. Remember to allow for expansion. Insert the panel into the J-channel along the gable slope. Use a level to make certain the panel is plumb. Nail every 12 inches. Continue cutting and installing panels. Then repeat the procedure on the remaining half of the gable end. The second method for installing vertical siding in a gable is to work from one end of the wall to the other. Begin by centering a panel under the center of the peak. Mark the position of the panel on the wall. Then measure the distance from the edge of the panel to inside the receiving channel. If you need a partial panel, cut it and install it at one end, and work across the wall.